Passive income is pretty cool. What's better than earning money whilst you sleep? So if you're gonna do it, at least do it right. My name is Dr. James Martin and I'm a UK dentist who left my job as a clinical dentist about 4 years ago. That was in part because I discovered some alternate streams of revenue. I've since went on to start 2 businesses, one of which is a financial planning firm, so to pick up some cool stuff along the way. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 7 coolest methods of passive income that I've ever found throughout the course of that journey. I'm going to be rating each one in terms of expected gains and also difficulty to get started. Remember, work smarter, not harder. So let's talk about everybody's go-to method of passive income, and that is investing in the stock market. But actually, if you ask me, a lot of people are not doing this in a truly passive style because they're trading, they're dipping in and out of the market. So I'm talking specifically about investing, as in buy and hold, set and forget strategies. If you're gonna do this, well, you're less likely to buy individual stocks, you're more likely to buy collections of stocks, i.e. funds. Here's the part that most people don't know. Your returns, as in the amount that your stocks or the amount that your funds actually appreciate in value, is going to be determined by 2 things. The first thing that it's going to be determined by is the capital appreciation, as in the growth in value of the funds themselves, as in if you buy them one day for £1 and the next day they go up to £2, well, then they've obviously appreciated in value by 100%. So that would be the capital appreciation. And then the second return that comes from stocks is going to be your dividends, as in the little shares of the company's profits that each company pays you for being a part owner, which is what a stock is. If you want to gain the best returns, you actually have to reinvest your dividends. So what that looks like is you purchasing more of the funds using the dividends that are paid out from the funds themselves. Naturally, if you siphon off some of the funds dividends for passive income, then that's going to affect the rate of growth of the stocks and funds with time. So the whole idea is you're supposed to reinvest as much dividends as possible, but you can use them for passive income should you so wish. It's pretty straightforward to do, not financial advice. There's going to be a graph that's going to be on the screen around about now that's going to show you the difference between a portfolio in which you siphon off some of the dividends as passive income versus a portfolio that is a portfolio in which you reinvest those dividends. Example on this graph right here, dividends usually account for 4% of the total returns. So if you look at this graph that's on the screen right now, you'll be able to see a portfolio which grows at 6% per year will give you X returns after 20, 30, 40 years. And a portfolio that grows at 10% returns, as in 6 plus 4, 6% capital appreciation and 4% dividend yield, added in and reinvested, will return 10% every single year, and the compounding is that much more. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 10 to get started in terms of difficulty, and the potential returns can be vast with time, but it does take a long time. Therefore, I'm going to score those 5 out of 10. Number 2, investing in property. It's often said that this is one of the most accessible and traditional ways to gain passive income. Obviously, that would be the rental income from the property itself. You buy the property, you rent it out. Every single month you get some money coming into your bank account. But here's the thing, if you actually compare the returns of the UK property market to the global stock market, you'll see that they don't compare that favorably. There's going to be a graphic that's going to appear on the screen around about now with those 2 areas highlighted. You'll see that properties return maybe 67% per year on average, whereas the stock market can return as much as 10. You also have to get a deposit together, that pesky deposit, which is usually a significant chunk of change. And then as well as that, you're going to have to deal with tenants and all the headaches that comes alongside that. So for me, it's not quite the gravy train that it used to be. Property, in terms of difficulty to get started, you got to get that money together. I'm going to give it 6 out of 10. In terms of expected returns, I'm going to give this 3 out of 10, which is not that good really, if you ask me. Controversy alert, I can already hear the property haters. Start a business. Let's just start a business because that's easy, right? Joking, of course. And the reason that I say that is to start my companies, it was literally like 16 hours a day of blood, sweat and tears to get things off the ground and to get to the things to a level where they were somewhat comfortable. But you know what? I learned so much, and what a personal growth journey. Anyway, that's a story for another day. Starting a business is going to be an amazing way to create some passive income for most people if they can get it up and running. Of course, easier said than done. All businesses have the same rough framework as to how they get off the ground. You identify some sort of need in society that's unfulfilled or unmet, then based on your own skill set, you create something which addresses that need, makes people's lives easier, therefore creates value for them. And then the next stage is to grow and grow and grow, figure out some way to scale, and then eventually you'll have something that resembles passive income with time. Definitely not an overnight thing, but it can be done. And like I say, on a slightly more philosophical sense, I learned so much about myself and the world just through running a business that I think you just have to look a little bit beyond the returns. Just my personal take. In terms of difficulty to get started, this is one of the hardest ones. I'm going to give that 8 out of 10. However, I'm also going to give the potential returns 9 out of 10, because this is something that can truly make you rich. Just look at Jeff Bezos, just look at Elon Musk, just look at Bill Gates and people along those lines, and you'll see what I mean. Digital products, one of the best ways to truly make something that resembles a passive income. Obviously, there's going to be some sort of initial time investment to create it in the first place, but once it gets rolling and people like it, well, what that will mean is people constantly buy it and it's just money appearing in your bank account. So let's start off by talking about what a digital product is. So an example of that could be a course. Another example of that could be some sort of ebook or PDF. Those are two things that I can think of off the top of my head. So you design it, you build it, you possibly find some sort of hosting platform like Amazon for ebooks, or Coursera or Udemy for courses. And then once you've got it launched on there, once it's up and running and people hopefully like it, well then what that will mean is it's just constantly money taking over in the background. In terms of difficulty to get started, I probably give this 3 out of 10. It's pretty accessible to most people. In terms of expected returns, I'm going to give this 4 out of 10. Obviously the sky's the limit if it's extremely successful, but what I mean is if someone's moderately successful in each one of these respective areas, what they can expect to obtain in return in terms of remuneration. Create a preneur. So what do I mean by that? Well, it's a portmanteau between a creator and a entrepreneur, of course. So a really good example of this is Miss XL, somebody who's identified a niche in which they have expertise and they share that content online for others to benefit. Eventually, when you hit a certain audience size, you can be monetized. Another example of this somewhat, although he is probably more of a true entrepreneur given that he started out in business first, is Alex Hormozy. He's obviously been very successful in growing a massive audience, and naturally he's going to receive money from these platforms in return. In terms of the fun factor, this is an extremely fun path to go down as a career, because you're literally talking about the thing that you love the most in the whole wide world, that you've learned loads about just by participating in because you enjoy. Naturally, it doesn't happen overnight. You have to build the audience and build the skill set of somebody who is able to create content as well. I mean, I think you just have to see it as part of a journey and part of a process. Eventually you'll get to a stage where people will be, your audience will be significant enough in terms of size to be able to generate some level of money. So yeah, I mean, something similar happened to me over the years as well with my businesses too, which is cool. And being on this side of that, it's an extremely fun way to live your life. In terms of difficulty to get started, I'm going to give this 3 out of 10. I mean, yes, obviously to earn your very first pound mightn't take that long, maybe like, I don't know, 6 to 12 months of posting content, but it can take forever for you to become extremely rich for it, of course, but it's not that hard to get started. In terms of returns, I'm going to give this 4 out of 10. Numero 6, affiliate marketing. This is so darn easy. It's actually crazy. You literally just hang out a little link on some content that you've made, and when someone buys something through that link, you'll get a cut off whatever they've purchased, a percentage, whatever you've agreed with the product creator. Naturally, you can't just promote anything in the whole wide world to your audience. It has to be stuff that you believe in, and it also has to be stuff that you believe is related to the subject matter that your audience follow you for. If if those things are not aligned, then you'll lose faith with your audience with time. So maybe you'll make some money, I don't know, but it's a bad idea in the long run, given that your audience will lose faith in you. So you definitely don't want to chase short-term pennies and sacrifice long-term pounds. In terms of difficulty to get started, I'm going to give this 2 out of 10. It's so darn easy. You literally copy and paste a link into a description, probably even pushing for a 1 out of 10 is that one. In terms of respective returns, they're not going to be that good, because remember, you're not having 100% of the pie in terms of the product that your audience have purchased. So I'm going to give this 1 out of 10. Number 7, create a successful website / email list. I've actually put these both together because even though they're slightly distinct things, or they can be distinct things, there's such a huge synergy between them that we have to talk about them in the same category. Building an email list and understanding how to talk and communicate really well to that email list has to be one of the truest forms of leverage out there. You can have 10,000 people, 100,000 people, 1 million people on the mailing list, and it takes you exactly the same amount of effort to write that one email. Then when you can direct some of that traffic towards your website and keep them coming back with some sort of really amazing service that you offer there, then that's when the true magic can happen. To grow the mailing list, think about who your target audience is and just get a killer lead magnet and share it far and wide. Use ads if you have to. And then to retain the traffic on your website once you've pointed them there, think about something that is extremely useful to those people and that you can automate, as in do it better than everybody else out there and then do it for free. And that's when you're a real flipping killer. Whatever that thing is, takes a little bit of ingenuity. Obviously it's not an overnight thing, but whenever you get there, it's flipping awesome. And this is the beauty of websites and email lists. You don't necessarily have to spend money on them to get them up and running whenever you know how it works. If you want to check my website out on one of my businesses for dentists, it's dentistwhoinvest.com. You can get a little bit of a feel for what I mean. We offer free valuable stuff on there for dentists in terms of content and in terms of accreditation, and that has been a huge traffic driver for my website. So I'd really encourage anybody out there to do the same. Take some time to figure it out, easier said than done, but so worth it. In terms of difficulty to get started, it's not too hard to get started, probably 6 out of 10. You need a little bit of know-how. In terms of potential returns, I'm gonna give this 7 out of 10, although obviously the sky is the limit. I mean, we're basically talking about a business here, and obviously whenever it comes to returns in a business, they can be massive. They can make people into millionaires, so it's worth knowing. People often ask me why I stepped away from dentistry, and it was related to those 7 streams of passive income we talked about just a second ago. There's a little bit more to it. I'm going to attach a video just here on this video which talks about my main reasons from stepping away from the safety of a 9 to 5 in my clinical role as a dentist.